Okay, again. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talking about Herbert Young. He is a very successful person who have doing many different things in his life. He worked for Definity, a company that make new kind of internet. He is boss of Definity in Asia. He help people who want to create new apps for internet. Before he worked for Definity, he worked for AWS, another big internet company. He helped many new businesses grow in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. He also worked for other companies and organizations in different roles such as CFO, Deputy Secretary, CEO, and Director. He started his careers at GE Capital, where he worked on new and exciting projects in many places. Herbert studied at Stanford University and the National University of Singapore, where he got his master and bachelor degrees. He's a very smart and talented person. Now, welcome, Herbert. Hello,
Professor Li. Thank you very much for the invite. It's an honor and a privilege to be invited to join you on this interview. And thank you all for whoever that are watching this. It's a great pleasure, to have this chat to share with Robert and all the fans of Robert, what we are doing in internet computer. We call it internet IC or ICP.
Yeah, many persons think ICP a very interesting project. So I have prepared 6 questions. The first question is, would you mind tell some story about yourself and why you choose ICP?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Robert. So for myself, I've been working in the internet for a very long time. Starting from the Web 1 era, if anyone still remembers, what it is like in Web 1.0, even though now we're talking about Web 5 or what have you. But I started my career in a General Electric, GE.
Yeah,
at one point, the most successful company on the earth. Not so much anymore. I don't know what happened after I left. But anyway, I started my career building a online insurance marketplace for G Capital back in Singapore when I did my undergrad. So I've been I've been an entrepreneur myself 3 times. And usually my venture is related to internet. Like the first one is we created one of the first app studios in China back in 2009. And then I did a social media startup in Palo Alto and also an animation movie studio. So my career has always been related to internet. So starting from I remember the first time I heard about Definity Foundation was in 2017, I think 2017, when I was in Palo Alto. Because at the time, Definity really burst out of scene. Just raised a sensational round from Andreessen Horowitz and Polychain Capital. I remember that was one of the rounds right before the listing. So I wanted to find out, what's the deal with this hot new startup out of Silicon Valley. It has a sensational claim. It wanted to disrupt AWS, Amazon Web Services. Yeah. Back in 2017, AWS was already the dominant, far and away the #1 leader worldwide for cloud computing. Yeah. So that claim sounds very audacious, to say the least. So that got me intrigued. I received the airdrop from Definity in the early days, and I talked to one of the co-founders of Definity Foundation. His name is Tom Dean, He's a Chinese American. We both hang out in the Chinese circle in the Silicon Valley.
Okay.
So Tom was still he's no longer in the industry anymore. He's as the word says, he has retired. But back in the days, so Tom explained to me, what the foundation was up to, and also the timeline. It was going to release the mainnet. Then I realized that's a little bit too early for me because I wanted to help Definitive Foundation build an ecosystem. That's what I can do. That's what I have been doing. But I couldn't really do that until Definitive Foundation launched the mainnet. So I left Palo Alto. I came back to Asia, first in Hong Kong, then in Shanghai. I joined Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
So before joining Definitive, I was the head of startup for AWS Greater China, building the startup ecosystem for mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan for AWS. So I was doing that for 3 years, and got into this whole cloud computing business. Then 3 years later, fast forward 3 years later, and I look at cloud computing. The AWS dominance was waning, even though it was still number one. But clearly, everybody can see the growth rate for the traditional cloud computing has been slowing down, and other players are catching up to AWS, such as Microsoft, Azure, Google Cloud, even in China, such as Huawei, Alibaba, and Tencent. So the margin became smaller and smaller for the industry leader AWS. And on the other hand, Definity was still around. And I asked my friend who worked in Definity, hey, how are you guys doing? And we are going to launch the mainnet very very soon. Come join us. So I talked to Dominic Williams, the founder and the chief scientist of Definitive Foundation. Then one call led to another. Then that's how I joined the Definitive Foundation. So in a way, it was always my dream, my goal to join Definitive, because it just felt, the goal and the vision of Definitive Foundation sounds so ambitious, so exciting, so disruptive. And that's what I want to be part of. I want to be part of a sensational growth story rather than, in an industry that is slowing down. So that was the main reason.
Yeah. This is other questions. I also found the ICP, the mission and vision, is very special from other project. So
very different.
To explain what's the different from other?
Sure. Yeah. So the vision of Internet Computer, of course, this was proposed and formulated by Definitive Foundation, is only 2 words. We call that blockchain singularity. So what that means is we envision a future where the majority of mankind's web services will be deployed and be running on the blockchain. Yeah. So we call that singularity. This singularity is different from, the singularity from Ray Kurzweil, who is about, the machine will take over man, et cetera, et cetera. So this is slightly different. But it basically means that because the way we look at the future is we are entering into a future of a decentralized universe where we believe that's the only way to have the ultimate data security, data sovereignty for both individuals and enterprises and even governments. And the only viable platform to achieve that right now looks to be a blockchain. Right, starting from all the way from 15 years ago, from Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and all that. And then among all the blockchains, we feel that an Internet Computer Protocol, or we call a ICP, or sometimes just IC, is the closest to that vision. So that's our vision. We want to either migrate the majority of existing web services, whether that's a Little Red Book, or Instagram, or like a WhatsApp, you name it, to ICP, or we want to encourage developers of the future to create brand new, totally never seen before new decentralized applications, dApps on ICP. So that's what we set out to do. And to do that, we have a 20-year roadmap, very long vision.
Yeah.
It was that is very unusual, to say the least. I mean, I used to be a CFO in General Electric, and I used to be I was one of the early member of the Yunfeng Fund, one of the largest PE fund in China. So I create PowerPoints for a living, and I build plans. But I've never seen any financial plan that goes longer than 5 years. But in Definity, we have our founder Dominic Williams. He laid out this 20-year journey to achieve that. I think it's very aspirational. It's a future I want to be part of.
Yeah, very Europe style.
very philosophical. Sometimes maybe a little bit utopian, but that keeps life interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So you're just talking about the ICP ecosystem. I know ICP have very big ecosystem, many different projects. So can you introduce something about the ecosystem?
Oh yeah, sure. It's a great question, Dr. Li. But this is a big topic. So let me take one step back. Where we are in the development of the ICP ecosystem. Yeah. So Definity Foundation, by the way, just Definity Foundation, for those of you out there who may not be familiar with our names yet, Definity Foundation, we are headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland. It's a Swiss nonprofit foundation. We have a team of over 200 globally, mostly in Europe, America, and a small team in Asia. And our employees are mostly scientists, researchers, cryptographers, software engineers who know how to build an infrastructure, internet infrastructure. And the foundation was founded by Dominic Williams, our founder, back in October 2016. So the Definity is actually one of the oldest foundations, in this business. We've been around for a while, and then we spent 5 years in developing this blockchain, layer 1 blockchain network called ICP, Internet Computer Protocol. And the mainnet went live in May 2021, just about 2.5 years ago. So that was an interesting time because Dr. Li, I'm sure you remember a lot of things happened in 2021. A lot of things that depending on where you are, sometimes leave some very unforgettable memories. I think the listing event of ICP was probably one of those. But in the last 2.5 years, our ecosystem has been growing very rapidly. So some numbers here globally. Right now we have 37 subnets and more than 500 nodes. Those nodes, they provide computation power and also data storage for the smart contracts, which we call canister. Canister is our type of smart contract that is deployed on ICP. And globally, we have a few thousands of developers, building applications on ICP. I think about 2 weeks ago, Electric Capital just released the famous annual Global Developer Ecosystem Report, where Dr. Li, you can see in that report, they list all the layer 1 blockchains in terms of the year-over-year growth of developer activities. And ICP, I remember, had a year-over-year growth of 64%, one of the highest in all the layer 1s. So that is so. In a nutshell, we have been growing very quickly. But to be more specific, what exactly can people expect to see in our ecosystem? Just a couple of things. Number one, let me just pull out the most recent deck that I share in Hangzhou. It's all right. So I can for example, right now on our network we have this. Okay, this number is about 2 weeks old. We had about 2.8 billion staked ICP on the network, $2.8 billion, which makes ICP one of the largest networks, in terms of the TVLs.
Yeah.
And a couple of other things that could be interesting. We have more than 2.3 million, we call that internet identity users. I mean, we can go into more details, but internet identity is our very unique DID, digital ID system,
Yeah.
using biometrics to authenticate users. So now we have more than 2.3 million users. And we have, just now I mentioned, we have more than 500 nodes across the globe, and we can achieve a finality speed. I mean, this is very important. If you think about scalability of a network, we have between 100 to 200 milliseconds finality, for the query calls. And for the update calls, it is also pretty fast. It's between 1 to 2 seconds, which makes ICP one of the fastest, probably the fastest network out there in all crypto.
Yeah.
So it's been growing really really fast, and I think we spend probably the first year just trying to build a network that's very resilient and reliable. So happy to report that, Dr. Li, our ICP mainnet has never gone down.
Oh yeah. Good.
We have never gone down. I mean, unlike some other blockchains, where going down has become a regular occurrence. ICP has never gone down. Sometimes, for a few times, when the NFT airdrop happens, the network got congested, but we never went down. So that is pretty. It's a strong testament to that speaks for the strong technical foundation of the network. But we can go into more details. Robert, if you want me to talk about what kind of applications we have seen out of ICP. I mean, there are many. There are hundreds of different applications in all areas, from social, game, metaverse, NFT, obviously DeFi, productivity tools, and all that. But this is I think right now is a very exciting time for developers, who are interested, or users who are interested in experiencing what kind of Web3 applications they can use from ICP.
Good. Very big ecosystem. So other is token ecosystem. Many person very interested in ICP token ecosystem. And ICP at the first list also have a very high price and not very well, but up for some nice price. So can you tell something about the ICP token ecosystem?
Sure, I can. I can explain, the basics of how the ICP tokenomics works.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have no idea of how the market is going to move. We don't,
of course.
We are no expert on that. We don't comment on that, so we cannot predict, which way the market will go. But I'm hoping that, by explaining how our tokenomics works, our friends and supporters and users will have a healthy understanding of why do we have such a strong conviction of this future that ICP subscribes. So our tokenomics ICP, the ICP is also not only the name of the network, but also the name of the token. So you can find that on CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and it's available on most of the major crypto exchanges such as Binance, OK, Coinbase, etc. And so when we talk about tokenomics, we have to talk about inflation and deflation.
Yeah.
So there are two ways. Right now, there are two ways. There are two forces, two events that will lead to inflation of ICP. Right. One is the nodes that I mentioned, because imagine, what is IC? IC is a collection of, several hundred of independent data centers around the world that, collectively form 30 plus subnets to provide computation and data storage for the smart contract. So when those IDC centers, and by the way, Divinity Foundation, we don't own them. That's a main difference between ICP and Amazon Web Services.
Yeah.
So in a way, we can we can interpret ICP as a decentralized version of AWS. That's probably easier to understand. So when those nodes provide SLA or the service level guarantee in terms of computation and data storage, the ICP network will pay them ICP as rewards. So that's a very traditional model of if you provide a service, you get paid. You get paid in ICP. So that leads to inflation, because more ICPs will be issued during that process.
Yeah.
We pay all the nodes on a monthly basis. So the second source of inflation comes from participation of the network governance. So for this I have to explain. After we had a TGE event when the mainnet went live, we also pass over the controllership or the ownership of the network to this community DAO that is called an NNS, Network Nervous System. That's a name for our DAO. So technically speaking, at this point, Definitive Foundation is no longer the owner of ICP. It's owned by this DAO.
Oh, good.
It's owned by this DAO. So this DAO, just now I was mentioning about 2.8 billion ICP that was all staked on this NNS DAO. And this DAO governs the day-to-day operation of the network, such as onboarding and paying the node operators, such as updating exchange rates, such as formulating the future direction of the ICP roadmap. That is all handled by this DAO in terms of submitting proposals and then people voting on them. So when users vote on those proposals, they get rewards. So in that process, more ICPs will be issued. First, I think, for example, right now, I believe the APY for if you stake your ICP for 8 years, you get the maximum voting rewards. Right now, the APY is about, I think, 16%.
Cool.
And the minimum you can stake for 6 months. That's how you can get reward. Just participating in this DAO governance. So these are the two sources that will lead to inflation of the token supply, leading to the creation of more tokens. There is only one source for deflation. That is burning of cycles. And cycles is a measurement that we use to measure the consumption of computation and data storage for all these smart contracts running on our mainnet. And for all these smart contracts, that could be a static web page, a dynamic web page. It can be a game, it can be a DeFi protocol. It can be any kind of web services. So in order to, for them to be able to be accessible, to be power on, they need cycles. And how do we get cycles for the developer? They have to buy ICP, convert ICPs into cycles. In this process, ICP will be burned, and the cycles will be top up to the candidates smart contract. So this is the source of deflation. So overall, we have two events that will lead to issuance of more ICP tokens, and one event that will lead to burning of ICPs. So hopefully, our ecosystem will grow to the point that deflation pressure will exceed the inflationary pressure. That means we have to onboard more developers to encourage them to use our open source SDK to build more applications, and those applications will draw users, which will visit the smart contracts and then burn, leading to burning of more cycles. So in the future, that's how everything will hopefully be aligned, where we're gonna see more demand for buying ICP from the developer community. And that will hopefully land us all of us in a good place.
Good, good. Yesterday I have checked your website. I found Motoko. So what is Motoko?
Oh, Motoko. Motoko is a language. Motoko is a language that we invented in Definitive Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a language. It's while Ethereum has Solidity, we have Motoko. And Motoko, obviously, the name obviously came from the famous Ghost in the Shell, the legendary animation movie from Japan in I believe 1995.
Oh,
it's a Captain it's major Motoko. I think it's Kayasagi. I think that's basically it's a famous anime character. It's very cyberpunk. She was an iconic cyberpunk fictional character. So we named the language after her. So that's Motoko. But okay, so what is Motoko? Motoko is a very lightweighted, very similar to TypeScript language that we invented that is domain specific to ICP.
Oh.
So right now, let me take it one step. So right now, if you are a developer, if you want to build, you want to create a smart contract on ICP, you can do this. Usually, there are 3 routes. You can use Motoko, you can use TypeScript, you can use Rust.
Oh.
So because all of them can be compiled into WebAssembly or WhatsApp. Because eventually that's how a canister smart contract work. It's everything will be stored, will persist in a stable memory using the WhatsApp. So as long as the language of your choice can be compiled into WebAssembly, you can use that language to write smart contract for ICP. So this actually includes a lot of languages that people are familiar with, but usually the popular ones will be Motoko, TypeScript, and the Rust. Okay, so why Motoko? Because Motoko is easy.
Oh.
We designed Motoko specifically so that it does 2 things. Number one, it's very easy for to learn. You can learn Motoko in a matter of maybe 2 to 3 weeks. If you are a proficient web developer who's already familiar with JavaScript, TypeScript, etc., you can learn Motoko in a few weeks. Very quickly, you can start building. I mean, you can use Motoko to create a hello world in 5 minutes. Very easy.
Oh, yeah.
And number 2 is Motoko is domain specific to ICP. So it's designed to milk the horsepower of the canister smart contract, to leverage a lot of the technical attributes of ICP. So it's fine-tuned to be the most efficient language for developers to build any application on ICP. Well, obviously Rust is not designed, for Polkadot, Solana, or ICP is a sort of a general purpose language. But that's the main difference. It's our creation that tries to make this easier for developers.
Okay, good. I'm also interested in the Motoko. Next time I can learn some. Yeah. Okay. The next question about the roadmap. ICP definitely have a very long time roadmap. So can you introduce something about this?
Sure. So yeah, we do have a very, very long-term roadmap. That is, sometimes that is depending on where you're from. It could be very inspiring if you are, if you have a Web3 vision like I do, or it can be very intimidating. It can be very intimidating because there are some there's some really heavy hitting items there. Just let me break this into 2 parts. What we have already accomplished and what we are setting out to do in the coming months or even years.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last 2 years and a half, the most important, I'll say the most important roadmap features we have landed are probably three. One is we have expanded the stable memory of a canister smart contract from, I think in the beginning was only 8 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte. That was 2 years ago. Now it has been expanded to 400 gigabyte. So 400 gigabyte. So basically in the, so you can do a lot more things in a canister smart contract. I mean, usually you can put a whole movie into a smart contract and do, so this really has unlocked many new scenarios. So that's number one. Number two is we developed this HTTP outcall feature. HTTP outcall. What it does is it enables canister smart contract on ICP to fetch data from any traditional websites. Basically, this is the Oracle.
Yeah.
Outside of ICP, in the Ethereum and most other layer 1, layer 2 blockchains, you have to rely on, as a developer, you have to rely on oracles to fetch data from traditional websites, such as what is the price of gold? What is the weather of Brisbane, Australia today, in order to do all kinds of DeFi and contracts. Because Solidity smart contract cannot do that. It cannot get data from a traditional websites. Surprise. But this HTTP outcalls enables any canister smart contract of ICP to do that easily without relying on this third party, sometimes expensive Oracle. So that is a very important feature that we released back in, I think, September 2022. So that really makes, building on ICP a lot easier. You just is no different from designing and building a traditional web service. You can already talk to the any websites that you want. And then the third most important roadmap feature we have landed was this Bitcoin and ICP direct integration. We released that last March. So what it does is it's a direct integration between a Bitcoin and ICP, which makes ICP one of the most versatile layer, you can call it layer 2s or like a side chains for Bitcoin. Without getting too technical, basically it allows a smart contract, canister smart contract on ICP to control and even create a wallet address on the Bitcoin mainnet. So it's essentially giving Bitcoin the capability of smart contract.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we all know that there is, because of the scripting language constraint of Bitcoin, there's not much we can do in the past on a Bitcoin, other than doing transactions. But now, of course, layer 2s of Bitcoin is all the rage. There are, I don't know, more than 30, maybe 50 different layer 2s for Bitcoin. ICP is actually, in my opinion, one of the most versatile layer 2s among all of them, because we can rely on the decentralized infrastructure from a layer 1 network of ICP. And we created this CKBTC. CK is our short form for chain key PTC. That is a wrap token. It has a one-to-one relation to BTC. So our users on ICP, instead of doing transactions directly on a Bitcoin mainnet, which is getting very expensive now because of Ordinal, BRC20 and all that. Now you can just transact with CKBTC on the ICP network. And the beauty of CKBTC is it's very fast. Just now I mentioned our finality speed is 100 to 200 milliseconds for query call. And it's very cheap, because one thing, Dr. Li, about ICP is we have this reverse gas fee model. That is, that is the opposite of Ethereum. We all understand the gas fee problem of Ethereum. It gets very expensive when everyone is rushing to get that NFT airdrop, or that DeFi transactions. On ICP, there is no gas fee.
No.
We only charge a transaction fee that is 0.0001 ICP, just to avoid DOS attack. So on ICP, you will find that doing transaction, whether it's buying NFT or playing a metaverse game or doing like a social interaction, the experience is no different from traditional Web2 applications. It is what it is. You don't have to buy something extra because of this gas fee problem. So to do the transaction on ICP with the CKBTC, it's a lot faster, it's a lot cheaper, and it's very secure because we have a very decentralized network, and also one thing very important: this integration between ICP and a Bitcoin does not rely on any third party. So it's a bridgeless integration. That's why we don't call that a bridge, because we hate bridges. Bridges are just, in our opinion, inherently very insecure.
Yeah.
So we don't rely on any centralized bridge to do this integration. So that is another thing about the CKBTC is we are the minter. So we maintain the Divinity Foundation. We created the minter, and we do KYT, know your transactions. So all the wallet address from this CKBTC, they don't interact with questionable accounts, with questionable wallet addresses from Bitcoin that might cause trouble with different regulatory agencies in different countries. So it's much safer for users to use a CKBTC because of the KYT mechanism.
Yeah.
So these are the couple of things that we have already launched in the last 2.5 years. But going forward, we have, I think in the near future, we have some very exciting features to be made available in the coming months. One is Schnorr. We are going to support the Schnorr signature very soon. Obviously, Schnorr is now used by Bitcoin after the upgrade. So once we are able to do that, to support Schnorr signature, then this is gonna make transaction of all the ordinal quite easy, because right now you have to exchange ordinals between wallet addresses on the Bitcoin. But if we can support Schnorr signature, what it means is you can basically use one canister to control one Bitcoin address, another canister to control another Bitcoin wallet address. And you just have to swap the canisters on the ICP mainnet. Then this gonna be a game changer for all the ordinals and the BRC20 tokens. So that's one that's coming very soon. The other one is our R&D team is working on the Rosetta API integration. So the Rosetta API is this protocol developed by Coinbase that is used by all the major centralized exchanges such as Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Binance, OK, etc. And it's a crucial condition for a lot of applications from ICP to be listed on those centralized exchanges. That means they rely on Divinity Foundation to integrate this Rosetta API so that their own token following the token standard from ICP can be compatible and eventually get listed on the OK or Gate or like a Bybit. So that's something we are working on that will be available hopefully by the end of the first quarter, which should be good news to a lot of the emerging startups from ICP ecosystem, because obviously in this business, everyone eventually, most of the teams, they They want to issue tokens. They want to raise funding, not only raising funding from the existing ICP holders, but also to the wider audience from the centralized exchanges. So this Rosetta API is going to be crucial for them. And then another feature that is also quite exciting is Ethereum integration. That is sort of the holy grail after the BTC integration. It's also a lot more complex than BTC because Ethereum is already a smart contract. So our team is working on that. When that is completed, what it means is the smart contract of ICP will finally be compatible to ERC20 and ERC 721. So we'll be able to bring the liquidity from Ethereum into ICP. And it will be eventually compatible to Solidity smart contract, making this much easier for the Ethereum developers to join the ICP ecosystem. So that is so we are all counting on that, the Ethereum and ICP integration. And last but not the least, our R&D team is also working on this VAC keys. VAC keys is a short form for verifiable encryption threshold keys. It's a new way. It's a new way for identity-based encryption method that we are hoping to achieve end-to-end encryption in the end. Dr. Li, you are, as you know, right now it's very difficult to have true 100% end-to-end encryption. It's very difficult to do that. Just not just for Web3, but even for traditional Web2. But we are hoping that this VAC key technology can bring us there, so that we can just store a secret in a canister smart contract, and then using our consensus mechanism, usually that includes 13 nodes to form a consensus to reconstruct the secret and then decrypt the message. So that's called a VAC key. We already released a demo to demonstrate how that can be done, and the R&D team is working on that. So these are the, there are many others, but these are just a few, that will be coming to our community in the coming months.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So I know too many information. Maybe next time we can have other live streaming. We can talk about more detail about the application use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. AI plus Web3 conversion is one of the biggest conversion in Australia. So ICP and you are warmly welcome to our conversion.
Oh, always pleasure. Yeah. I think that's I think the ICP from the day we were born, we have always been ridiculed by many people in the industry. We sort of live our, we carry on with our lives through scrutiny, skepticism, sometimes just attack, because people don't believe, because people question our audacity, our ambitions. So how is this possible? How can they build such a supreme technology? But I think that's I came from Amazon Web Services. I've been doing this for a long time. This thing is real.
Yeah.
We have built a very strong technology foundation that can, as you said, Robert, where we can almost rebuild the entire internet from ground up. And that's what we are set out to do. We want to, in the words of Dominic Williams, our founder, want to reimagine internet so that and the only way to do that is on a decentralized blockchain, such as ICP, that can do three things in one. Decentralized ledger, everybody can do that, but we can also do data storage and computation.
Okay.
And I believe ICP right now, to my knowledge, is the only layer one blockchain that can do all these three things in one. But that's crucial. That's crucial for Web3, I think. So we are off to a great start. Maybe a bit of a bumpy start from 2021, but I think we are getting there.
They're very big pictures. Okay, everyone. Today we are talking about with Herbert and know many details, many information about ICP. And to be honest, I can't understand totally, but I think we can have many opportunity to talking with Herbert. If you have any question, you can take your question under this video. So thank you everyone.